Rebuild 40, 41, 42, push-pull legs. Same thing as always, making a little bit more progress finally on my tendons, doing just a lot of static hangs, things that I can just slowly start increasing the tendon strength. The ones that usually go for me are in my elbow. A lot of people get problems with their wrists. That's why people see them strapping up their wrists. I find my wrists and my hands are usually quite strong. I start to get problems in my tendons. Usually I start giving myself no lead time on weighted dips, so as soon as I start hanging a lot of weight around myself to do chin-ups, that's when I start getting problems. So I back off from the weights. I do things like towel hangs with towels. I've got thick bar, or what are they called, fat grips, that I put over my chin-up bar and over my dumbbells. So rather than going up in the intensity of the weight specifically, I put the fat grips on to make it more difficult to do chin-ups and dumbbell work. So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 days, is modifying my diet rather than cranking up the intensity, and really pushing that with my German volume training and trying to up the ante with the weight every week to the tune of 3 to 5%, which is the style of the time. I try to modify it in terms of bar thickness, grip thickness, things like that, to try and make it more difficult if I start to plateau, or I start to get problem with my tendons or feel a little bit too much pull on my ligaments, rather than try to do more damage. But other than that, strength going up, size is going up. Not so focused on my size at the moment, because really I have a restricted diet. So with lean bulking, if I was really going all out, it would be much, much better for my recovery if I was going to have 2 grams per kilogram of body weight of carbs. Like, it's more or less the same as the 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein. So roughly 1-to-1 of carbohydrates, protein has worked for me in the past. I think you'd probably find some hectic power lifters and heavy lifters would probably go to like 3 grams or 2.5 grams per kilo per body weight. I'll have to check that out. I'm not too sure. Never done any of those sports seriously enough to care, so I don't really have to go all out. What I have noticed though is, from modifying my diet from keto to just having about 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates in the form of rolled oats and bananas, and the whey protein has a little bit of carbohydrates in it. So like I said, that usually with the bananas, whey goes to about 38 grams per day. If I add another 30, so 40, 50, 60, 70 grams, 70 to say 80 grams, so roughly 1-to-1 per kilogram of body weight. I'm currently 86. Is enough that I can wake up the next morning and feel recovered and inspired to go back to the gym. If I don't, and I'm just going ketogenic, and I mean, some of these guys with the carnivore diets seem to have no problems with it. I would like to eventually do this as a rebuild to monitor my blood results and hormone panels to see if it makes a difference. But if I have, as I said, 1 gram per kilogram of body weight of carbohydrates in some shape or form, man, I have a lot more energy at the gym the next day. So I think it's a trade-off. I am trying to lose a bit of body weight. I started at I think 14%, 11 kilograms of body fat, and I feel myself getting leaner, so I don't need to have a too aggressive total since I've got another 80 days or so left. If you take 40 minus 30, which was the initial sort of startup time, so I'm 10 days in effectively, and feeling quite good. As I said, still trying to strengthen my ligaments, backed off climbing, don't want to pull anything, slow and steady wins a race. Folks, I really got to stress that enough. At my age now, being 40 years old, I used to take 2 weeks to get everything in between seasons of sport or whatever to try and recover. Now, after 40 days, I still feel like I could go less aggressively than I'm going now to really make sure I don't do any damage. I've backed off the amount of cardio that I was doing just because the recovery was so slow. And that's why I've sort of upped the amount of calories. So everything is going by feeling. You can go by metrics only to a certain extent, but then you've got to be adaptable. You've got to change on the fly, be dynamic with this stuff, because not only as we age do the variables change, but if you're starting to get sick, or if you're having to stay longer at work and stay up more, you've got to be flexible with a lot of these things. So I won't keep it at that, but man, I'm really happy how I'm going. It feels really good to go back to the gym. A couple of my mood and energy data since I've modified my diet have been bumped up to the 4 and 4, which is good for me. So hell, a little bit of carbs can go a long way even for my moods, considering that if you're healing better, you might be able to go to the gym more, which is a sort of a cycle for me to start, feeling better. Exercise to me is a panacea for good mental health, good rest and everything. So the lesser of evils seems to be 50 to 70 grams of carbohydrates a day, and hey, live with a bit more body fat for a little bit longer. Other than that, that's all I have to say to keep it at that. It was my rest day today, but I'll talk about that tomorrow. Have a good one.